What is up, guys? My name is Hector Flores, host of the Insert Name FC podcast, a member of the BellyUpSports Media Network. You can find us on all things podcasting, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast fix from, you will find us there. I promise you that. Also, check us out on YouTube at Insert Name FC. We do these episodes, we normally break them down into shorter videos, clips to be viewable on our YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube channel, BellyUpSports, that's where you can find the full video version of this podcast. It's going to be on BellyUpSports' YouTube channel, so go ahead, check it out. Also, a lot of cool content over there on BellyUpSports' YouTube channel. If you guys check it out, I was featured on a new video series called Mic Check, where you kind of get to know a little bit about the many characters of BellyUpSports. So make sure you guys check out all that, plus all the great podcasting over there. When it comes to sports, obviously a lot of things are happening. NFL's back, college football's back, baseball's near its tail end for the season, and of course, you have me and Edward talking footy. So lots and lots of content over there on BellyUpSports, so go ahead and check them out, BellyUpSports YouTube channel. Also check out the website, BellyUpSports.com, where you can find articles as well covering all the sports here in the United States. And of course, GolzTV, GOZ.TV. It is a great platform where you can find all the soccer content that you're looking for, whether it's English Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Ligue 1, international, FIFA. Obviously, we're just coming off of the international break. U.S. men's national team, L3, whatever you're interested in. EA Sports FC content, MLS content, Liga MX content, all that stuff is available in one-stop shop in GolzTV. So once again, go ahead and check it out, GolzTV. You also find Insert Name FC, our podcast, available. And if you guys check out Wake Up MLS, you will find me there as well with Jose and them. So, which Jose comes on from time to time. And you know what? At some point, we need to bring Jose back on. We need some Jose in our lives as well. So, along with Kelcey. So we definitely need to do that. But yes, and then obviously check us up on all social media platforms at Insert Name FC. Instagram, X, Facebook. That's where you can find us there, where you can see a lot of cartoons, a lot of funny stuff is being posted there on the regular. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, episode 229, I believe. Episode 229. Yeah, obviously Edward is off because this is his weekend with the boys. So it's just going to be me this episode. Not all me, because obviously we do have 3 Up, 3 Down to discuss, and Kelcey will be there. English Premier League kits is going to be the theme. So that will be at the end of the episode. But we still got things to talk about. We got Erik ten Hag. He got fired. So we'll get into it, all the details, my thoughts, and all that about Erik ten Hag. Inter Miami. Yeah, we're going to talk about Inter Miami, or Inter Messi, or Inter Barcelona, whatever you want to call them. We're going to talk about Liga MX, some big things happening there at Liga MX. Well, maybe not right now, but some things are happening at Liga MX. No players of the week this week. Obviously, it's international break, so we are not going to include international break for players of the week. But we will have some games to look forward to this weekend. Obviously, international break is over, so we're going to go right back into the nitty-gritty of the seasons. So we'll go ahead and give you guys some games to watch. And like I said, 3 Up, 3 Down, the Premier League kits. So you're going to see me and Kelcey put up our best and worst kits in the Premier League this season, or at least our opinions. And yeah, that's going to be the show. Obviously, we made jokes about it last episode about that I was signing up for a 5K. Obviously, you're hearing me talk, so I made it. I survived and I lived. It was pretty cool. So obviously it's a 5K. So if you guys don't know, 5K is it's a very small marathon. I don't even think marathon is the right word to call it, so that's why I say 5K. The 5K that I participated in was called the Travis Manion 9/11 Heroes Run. pretty straightforward. It is the Messi-mania Foundation is a company, veteran-owned company. So you can see the connection there, me being a Marine Corps veteran on that part. But they do a lot of stuff. They raise funds to help and take care of other veteran-owned opportunities, and also help out people that were victims to 9/11, which is the whole purpose of the run. Is just another thing to kind of have people come together to reflect of a time that was very dark at one point in this country. I know a lot of people have opinions on 9/11, and this is not going to be the place where we talk about that. But yeah, so it was a cool, obviously for me being a veteran, it was just cool being back in like some sort of atmosphere amongst like veterans themselves. It's a weird thing to talk about. I think, transitioning out of the military is kind of one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. You went from a world that honestly you kind of feel just kind of froze itself in time. So you're just whatever in that time. So when you do eventually come back, the world is just so different, and it can be a bit overwhelming at times. And it's, I think the beauty of having this run, which I got to hang out with some guys called the Irrelevant Warriors. It's a kind of a support group, I guess you can say, for veterans who have a real rough time adjusting to civilian life. So I participated in the marathon, in the 5K with them. But the 5K that I ended up doing, so there was two options for the 5K. You could have just done the straight 5K, or you could do a 5K ruck. Rucking. So my definition of rucking is obviously different of I guess what this fad or trend is for rucking. But essentially rucking is just, going out walking, running, with just a weighted backpack on. I guess you can also do the weighted vest, but I think it's more towards the reason why they call it rucking is a reference to military. So in the military, rucking or going on rucks it's our way of saying hiking. So and you go on these hikes, and you usually have like a gear on you, normally a pack, depending on what kind of hike it is, or what exactly you're doing on the hike, depending on what kind of pack you're carrying. But usually you have a quite amount of weight on your back, and you're going on a hike. Me being a Hollywood Marine, being stationed in, going through combat training in Camp Pendleton, there was a lot of hills, lot of hills. So these hikes would be pretty rough just because you're going up and down. We had some interesting hills. We had the Ankle Breaker, pretty self-explanatory for why it was called that. We had Mount Motherfucker. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. You could probably guess why they call it that. We had the Microwave. I think some people can understand why it's called the Microwave, but if you guys don't know, where it is just in a very hot place. And for Marines, if you go through basic training on the Hollywood side in San Diego, you have the Reaper hike. So there is a hill called the Reaper. It is a very steep hill that it is the final test that most Marines go through when they go through the Crucible. So for people that aren't familiar with U.S. Marine Corps, obviously this isn't like Army, Air Force, Navy. They don't go through this, but and obviously more, I guess, specific to West Coast Marines. But East Coast Marines do still go through the Crucible. Their hike is just a little different versus the Marines in the West Coast were. But the Crucible is essentially just like 2.5 days of just training. You're just basically applying all that you learned through the 3 months of basic training that you went through, and applying it in these scenarios. With what you're only really working with like 4 hours of sleep in total. And you get like 3 things of food. I'm not gonna say rations, 3 things of food, which obviously MREs. If you guys don't know, what an MRE is it's meals ready to eat. It is, not terrible. I think there's worse things to eat. I know that a lot of people like doing videos where they eat an MRE to like give you a perspective. MREs weren't as bad. Obviously I've had to eat MREs. I kind of just accept. I'm the worst person to ask because like a lot of people when I was in the Marine Corps complained about the food that we ate, and I just ate it, and it's not like, yeah, you can insert fat joke there, but I don't know. But yeah, so I mean, I was just like, well, it's better than nothing. I think that was my mentality throughout the whole time. Was it's better than nothing else. So so you can't really ask me if it was bad because once again, I wasn't really picky and it was either that or starve, and so I chose that. So, but yeah, going back to it. So rucking, so that's kind of like the connection with the military, and now they have this new exercising fad called rucking, where once again you just go outside and you walk with a weighted backpack. That's really all that it is. And it's become like this craze, at least from what I've been reading about it. I literally had no fucking idea what that was. Sorry for cussing Kelcey. So kind of the reason why I did the whole 5K was I mean, most of you guys have been keeping up with the podcast. I decided that I was going to start exercising mainly because I became a double XL. And I was like, I am not having that. So because of that, I've been I started going to the gym going back in May. Just been going to the gym and trying to get myself down to a size large. And so been doing initially just doing a lot of cardio, just only really capable of giving like 30 minutes at the gym. So that's why I was more focused towards like cardio machines. And I saw I was reading through the Irrelevant Warriors group chat, and they put up that there was this 5K, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sign up. I'm gonna give myself something to strive for, something to push myself. That what am I, so I held myself accountable if I ever take a day off, and or if I try to take a day off, and so I did it. I signed up, and I saw that there was a ruck. I had no idea what a ruck was, so I read on it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's hiking, but with like a backpack. So, I mean, it's walking, but with a backpack. It's also good low impact training. Obviously, like, a lot of people recommend just, if just going on a walk, like it's perfectly fine to do that. But yeah, so yeah, I signed up for that. Put in a lot of work into getting myself at least cardio ready. I didn't run the whole thing. I walked most of it. I did run, at least initially. Then I started walking, but I walked at a pretty good pace, I would say. And then like the final stretch, I did, push it and run it. But yeah, so, did it. I think if anybody doesn't understand what 5 kilometers is, it's essentially like roughly like 3 miles. So I ended up pushing on the last stretch. Puked my balls out. Not really. I puked I didn't really eat much that morning. I had like a protein bar and like I drank some water. So yeah, I just straight up puked the water. That's all I really puked out at. But yeah, I did it. I feel like I accomplished something. And so it's a little thing, but yeah, well, one, I'm still going to be exercising. I'm still trying to once again get back to a size large. I would safely say I'm an XL now. So there's that. So, but now I'm actually going into, I guess, the next phase of what I'm trying to do, which is I'm actually going to start like lifting more. Not lifting like big weights, but just kind of help like increase my metabolism. Anyways, I know people don't really care about this, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. But yeah, it was cool to do the 5K. Got to meet some really cool people. I actually got to meet somebody that worked on a similar the same aircraft that I worked on when I was in the Marine Corps. He was actually in Yuma, Arizona. I was stationed in Cherry Point, North Carolina. So it was cool talking to him, talking about aircraft for a bit. Really cool guy. I unfortunately did not. I was hoping to like see him when I finished the run, to like see him and have a drink, because they gave us like free Michelob Ultras. So that was because obviously it's a 5K, it's some sort of physical event. Of course they're gonna give away Michelob Ultras. So I had fun with that. I think I had like 4 of those, which is great to have when you haven't eaten anything. But I was hoping to like cross paths with him. I kind of want to talk to him for a little bit and maybe even get a picture with him. But unfortunately, I didn't. I did get a picture. I was like, I gotta at least take a picture because I'm really bad at taking pictures of myself. It feels weird. But it was cool, and I did get a lot of positive comments from it because of the fact that like they're like, "Oh, you really are slimming down." So that was cool in that part. But yeah, so that happened. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. All that. We'll go ahead and go quick. We'll take a quick break and then go right into Erik ten Hag. We'll get right into it right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Let me tell you guys about BellyUpSports. BellyUpSports is the internet sports bar. Go ahead and check out their website, www.bellyupsports.com, to read some great articles from great writers all across the country, from hockey, baseball, golf, soccer, you name it. BellyUpSports is the premier, not your average website. All right, guys. So, first headline on the docket. We got to talk about Erik ten Hag, man. So, 2 days in, not 2 days, 2 matches in the Erik ten Hag era in Bayer Leverkusen, and Leverkusen's like, we've seen enough, get this man out of here. So Bayer Leverkusen has sacked Erik ten Hag after 2 matches, and this is also kind of like an interesting stretch of days because Fenerbahce sacked Jose Mourinho, and Benfica sacked Ole Gunnar as well. So I know it's Ole Gunnar, okay? These guys, just calm down. I just like saying Ole Gunnar. But yeah, and then so 3 former United managers have all been sacked by their current clubs. I think the Fenerbahce and the Benfica one, I think they've already they at least had a season. At least, I think, roughly a season under those belts. But like Leverkusen, literally, we went 2 games, and I mean, it is a rough start. I'm not gonna say that it's not. I think it's a little too early to be going to like, hey, let's get rid of this guy. But we'll get into it. But yeah, it's only been 2 matches. They've only played 2 matches into the season. Obviously, maybe also it doesn't help in the friendly. I believe they played against some Brazilian academy and lost to that Brazilian academy. But yeah, obviously it's not a good look. But so I will say though, the match that I guess would essentially be kind of the nail in the coffin for Erik ten Hag was a 3-3 draw to Werder Bremen. I watched this game. I actually mentioned it a little bit in last week's episode where Bayer Leverkusen was winning the game. They were up 3-1. Werder Bremen had a red card. So they were down 1 man, and they drew. They came back and scored 2 unanswered goals to get a point, secure a point, which in many look, people try to say that, that there's no real winner or loser when it comes to draws. No, there is in fact there is draws that you can tell who got the positive result over the other. And it's normally the team that can somehow shit out 2 unanswered goals over the team that had a 3-1 lead. So, yes, as a matter of fact, there was a winner and loser in that draw, and that loser was Bayer Leverkusen. Especially when Werder Bremen were down to 10 men when this all happened. They were already down to 10 men. It wasn't like, oh, they were in full strength still at the time. No, they were down 10 men. So, yes, it was a horrific performance. I watched that game mainly because it was going to be Malik Tillman's debut. And Malik Tillman did get his first goal for Leverkusen. But, yes, it was very much a bad showing. Once again, Leverkusen also received a loss in their first match of the season. And then to answer back with a draw that very much is a loss. You lost 2 points. You missed out on getting 3 points. You had 3 points in your hands, and immediately just pissed that all away. So I see. Like for me though, is it too early to be doing this? I do feel that way. Now, if this was like later on in the year, completely unacceptable, and clearly you should fire him. But the reason why the issue is that we're only 2 matches into the season. But the other thing is also the fact that this is not like the same Bayer Leverkusen team from last year. Very much not, because obviously, one, you lost your manager in Xabi Alonso. He's now with Real Madrid. And then on top of that, you lose a lot of key players from last year. Florian Wirtz is over at Liverpool. Frimpong is at Liverpool. Jonathan Tah is at Bayern Munich. I'm trying to think of all the players. Boniface. He's also gone. So this isn't the same Bayer Leverkusen team from last year. This isn't the same Leverkusen team that went undefeated the year before. This is very much you lost a lot of key players. It'd be one thing if it was just one or two guys, but you lost some very crucial pieces to your team. I believe from that, at least players of note from that team, Grimaldo obviously is still with them, and now you have Lucas Vasquez, which I don't believe is playing yet. I think we might see him. We might see him later on, but yeah, it's you. And I also don't really feel like they did much in the transfer window, at least significant enough to be like Leverkusen. I expect a dip in Leverkusen, and it's not mainly because of Aaron Ten Hag. You just lost a lot of good players. It really does come down to that. There's not many teams that can recover when you lose that many key players, and I want to emphasize key players to your team. I mean that it's just logic tells you that it's going to take a while to find players and to fill in the new holes that this team's going to have. And so I don't want to put too much blame on Erik Ten Hag in that department. But in reality, so I think that the sacking is way too early. But this could also just be there has to be something deeper. There has to be something so much deeper to the issues with Erik Ten Hag, and we found that out. Apparently, he was just not well liked amongst the coaching staff, which I think is a lot. Some people are saying that he hired the coaching staff. From what I've gathered, or at least from my personal experience, the coaching staff doesn't really change. So, for instance, in American football, when a new head coach is hired onto a team, that most of the guys from the coaching staff that got fired, they're not coming back to the team because obviously that's not the coaching staff that head coach has. So that head coach usually hires his own staff for the team. His assistant coaches, his offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, all those things are things that he hires on once he gets the job. He may keep some guys from the previous regime. Essentially, he has the guys interview for the jobs. When I worked at the Houston Dynamo, most of the guys on the coaching staff were very much still guys from previous years, and only thing that was different was just the new manager, which is Ben Olsen. Because you still the assistant coaches, even training staff and all those guys, we're all still the same people. I mean, people will come and go. I mean, people get new job opportunities and want to test out new waters, want to become the manager of their own club. That's very common, but more often than not, these guys pretty much stay the same. So, but people I guess there wasn't really much gelling with the coaches. And I think it also comes down to that Bayer Leverkusen Erik Ten Hag was just not on top of their list. I honestly think it just came down to that. I don't think that they were very much wanting to bring him in. I think that there were other guys that they were pushing for. Cesc Fabregas is a name that I think was very heavily someone they were attempting to pursue. He clearly stayed put at Como. I also believe that Inter Milan was also trying to bring him on. So I think a ton of other things happened where they just could not get the manager that they ideally wanted to bring into the team. Xavi Hernandez was a guy that I believe they did reach out for. He rejected the job. From apparently multiple times, he rejected the Leverkusen job, which I believe the reason why is just he wants to take a break from football. Take that for what you want. But so you settled for Erik ten Hag, which I think is, I don't know how you can just, like, I mean, it's not, I, I think this is weird. Like, if this was not the guy you wanted, why would you make an offer? If you, from the interviews, if you just didn't feel like he meshed in with Bayer Leverkusen, then why would you hire him? If you're, especially now that you're coming out with, yeah, we never wanted to bring him in, but you brought him in. You paid him, right? Like, I mean, this guy was making good money to come to Leverkusen. To act like he wasn't a good fit would mean that you guys you clearly just didn't do a good job in your search process. You didn't do a good job in the interview process, because if he was telling you all the things that you didn't want to hear, then why would you say, yeah, let's give him the job? You probably missed out on all the guys you initially wanted, and you got this guy. And instead of just seeing what he can do, once again, you probably should give him some leeway, because once again, you lost a lot of key players. You know, like this, it would be one thing if it was just Xabi Alonso left and the team stayed the same. Like, if you still had Frimpong, if you still had Florian Wirtz, if you still had certain players, like if those, key players, if Todd didn't leave, if Boniface still stayed with, like, the team is exactly the same from last year, and Erik ten Hag comes in and they shoot the crapper, then yes, then clearly it's him. But when you have that fact, and this is a reason why I had Bayer Leverkusen as my team to watch this season, was because how do they respond from losing not only their manager, but losing a lot of key players? Like, I didn't anticipate them to compete for the Bundesliga. I think that, I don't know if the window's closed. Probably, I mean, now definitely you feel like the window's very much closed, but you still needed time for it to, like, for things to really gel in. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to Erik ten Hag. I think Leverkusen is just trying to save face at this point. Like for you to say, oh yeah, he wasn't who we really wanted, to me is a crock of shit. Like, you hired the guy, you paid him the amount of money that you paid him, and then the season's not looking great. It didn't help that that friendly that you guys had with, I forgot what academy it was. Maybe it was Flamengo's academy. I don't remember. It was a Brazilian. I know it's a Brazilian league academy. You lose to an academy team, and things weren't looking great. So for some reason, you felt the need to tighten the leash. You tighten the leash. You get a loss and a draw. A draw that very much is a loss. And I get the frustration. I'm not saying that I'm not blind to that. It's clear that, it was not acceptable to have this kind of a start. But at the same time, what did you expect? Like I said, I don't feel like Bayer Leverkusen necessarily did enough to really make you feel like this team is still going to be afloat. Like, yes, I like the Malik Tillman signing, but that's because I'm a U.S. national team supporter. And I think it's cool that he gets a shot to be the 10 for a Bundesliga side. Especially a Bundesliga side that does have a good has a really good track record of guys, taking the next step in their careers once leaving the club. But obviously, with what Xabi Alonso has done for Bayer Leverkusen in his stint with the club, he made them a competitive team. He made a good chance of being a team that can compete in the Bundesliga with Bayern Munich. Obviously, we got that answer from last year. They still were a very good team, but very much Bayern Munich is still a very good team as well. And on top of that, once again, I have to reiterate this. They went undefeated. They went undefeated to win the Bundesliga. They needed a team, in order for a team to dethrone Bayern Munich, they had to go undefeated. And everyone's going to be like, oh, but Bayern Munich had a down year. Bayern Munich scored more points, had more points on the table than the year before, which they also won the Bundesliga. That year that Leverkusen won the Bundesliga, yes, they went undefeated. It took a team to go undefeated for Bayern Munich to not win the Bundesliga. And I'm not even a Bayern Munich fan. I don't care about Bayern Munich. But I just want to point that out because they also had more points than they did the year before, which they also won the Bundesliga that year. So, like, I still want to give credit where credit is due because, once again, undefeated season nonetheless is still something to note. But, like, to sit here and say, like, the reign of terror of Bayern Munich is over, like, that was just a farce. But, yes, Leverkusen was looking very much good as a team that will be competing with Bayern Munich, especially from last year. But once again, the issue with clubs like Bayer Leverkusen and most teams that you would view kind of like mid-table sides, unfortunately, I don't want to call them a mid-table side, but they're kind of playing like one now, or teams that normally compete for some sort of European competition, probably not Champions League, but at least some sort of UEFA competition. I mean, their best players get poached. That's what happened with Florian Wirtz. That's what happened with Frimpong. You know, that's what happened with Ta. This is just what happens to them. You know, not long ago they had Heung-min Son. Not long ago they had Kai Havertz. This is just what happens to clubs like these. Like, their best players get plucked out. And that is the club's responsibility, is to then replenish, find players that can fill in those roles. Because once again, Bayer Leverkusen does a really good job of finding good players and brings them up and then once again sells them for profit. But, you know, I just don't think they did enough this time around to be making you feel like, hey, this team is going to compete for the Bundesliga. And obviously, it's still early. Like, things can change and Bayer Leverkusen can figure things out. But once again, I just think it's unfair to evaluate Erik ten Hag under these conditions. So, like, am I sitting here and telling you that Erik ten Hag is a great manager? Honestly, at this point, I don't even know. Obviously, his time at Manchester United was rough, but I mean, I don't even know if you really could blame it on Erik ten Hag. I really don't. You know, like, I mean, clearly he lost whatever he had. He lost whatever he had standing left with that club, and he really has no horse to ride on as far as defending himself. But, like, I mean, I felt like this was going to be a good opportunity for him to get a bounce back, especially if they're able to find players that can help the squad compete. And that's the only thing that I think they didn't do much of, was finding players to compete this season. But, I mean, sometimes maybe it takes the right manager to figure it out. Maybe they don't feel that his tactics work. Maybe that's what it is. But once again, that just shows how shitty of a job Bayer Leverkusen did at the hiring process. Because if you guys didn't feel he was a good fit, you don't have to hire a manager, right? I mean, yes, you do. I mean, you have to hire a manager. But if he's not a good fit, pursue the guys that you believe is a good fit. And so, hey guys, this is Hector from the Insert Name FC podcast, here to tell you guys about Canada Dips. It is a great tasting, superior alternative to traditional dip, using CBD in a way that is radical, enjoyable, and effective. It comes in 5 core flavors: wintergreen, mint, citrus, mango, and American spice. Canada Dip CBD is the new evolution in dip, allowing guys to enjoy great, long-lasting taste without the downsides. If you guys want to go ahead and try them out, use the code BellyUp20 at CanadaDipCBD.com. Once again, BellyUp20 at CanadaDipCBD.com, and you'll get yourself 20% off your purchase. Thank you again for Canada Dips for being a great partner of BellyUpSports. That's where we're here now. So obviously, at this point, Ten Hag's gone. You know, it'd be funny if he comes back. That would be hilarious. But Ten Hag's gone. So the options that Leverkusen are now looking at is Edin Terzic, who obviously previously was managing Borussia Dortmund. Another former Borussia Dortmund manager, Marco Rose, who also managed Borussia Mönchengladbach. And a little bit of a different, but going after Raul. And I think that this is interesting because you can make the argument that this is kind of similar to the whole Xabi Alonso thing, because Raul was managing Castilla, Real Madrid's, their youth side, their second division team. He was managing them. He actually stepped away from the position in pursuit, I'm assuming, of a top club, to manage a top club. And so, kind of similar to with Xabi Alonso, who worked amongst the ranks of the youth for Real Madrid and gets an opportunity with Bayer Leverkusen, and it worked beautifully. I think Raul kind of maybe a little bit of a similar situation. Maybe they feel that the lightning can strike twice for them. And I mean, once again, Raul is a legend, an icon for Real Madrid, the captain of Real Madrid at one point. And I mean, and also, I mean, when he unfortunately did get pushed to the wayside by Real Madrid, he played for Schalke, so he has some familiarity with the Bundesliga. So I think it is going to be very interesting who they end up hiring, because I don't know, like the availability of Terzic and Rose. I'm assuming they're available, because why would they show interest in them? But secondly, Raul is very much available, and if they do feel that, like, hey, it worked with Xabi Alonso, it can work again with Raul. And maybe they want like that Spanish style of play. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. Maybe they're hoping that Raul can bring that to this team, because obviously it worked once before with Xabi Alonso. So I think that, and I mean, I think if you talk about Terzic and Rose, once again, you're talking about guys that have plenty of Bundesliga experience and know what it takes to keep a team competitive. I don't want to say that know how to win, because obviously. But Terzic did take Borussia Dortmund to the Champions League final, so there is also that. I don't remember too much about Marco Rose's time at Borussia Dortmund, but I would assume wasn't too great. I'm trying to remember, because I think he took over after Tuchel, right? Yeah, I think so. He took over after Tuchel. No, it was Terzic. So I think Terzic was let go. They bring in Marco Rose, and then they brought back Terzic. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with them. We'll see how everything pans out for Leverkusen. Hopefully they don't regret their decision. I mean, look, I'm not here trying to be like a defender for Erik ten Hag. I'm not trying to say that he's a great coach. But I mean, we'll see what happens with him. What other opportunity is going to come for him? We'll see. Maybe go back to the Eredivisie. Maybe go to Portugal. Go somewhere where you can get a grasp of it and try to find your bounce back, man. Like I really have no idea where you go from here. But we'll see what happens, man. All right, guys. Quick update to the Bayer Leverkusen situation. They have, in fact, hired their new manager, and it is Kasper Hulsmann. He is a Danish manager. His last stint was managing Denmark. That was from 2020 to 2024. So, kind of say he's been out of the game for a little bit over a year. So, but he does have, as far as his managing background, it goes from managing Nordsjælland, Right to Dream, a lot of Nordsjælland, and then also Mainz. He was a manager with them way back ago, but it's an interesting addition to the team. He does prefer the 3-4-1-2 formation. So we'll see how he does here with Bayer Leverkusen. But yes, so they did hire a guy, and it's going to be Kasper Hulsmann taking over at Bayer Leverkusen. So hopefully he gets time. Hopefully he gets his time to actually implement what he wants to do with this team. And once again, the challenge is still very much there. The challenge is 100% still much there. But that is the update on that part. But all right. The next headline is Inter Miami, because Inter Miami, Jesus Christ, what is fucking going on here? Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. Inter Miami. It really has become Inter Miami versus everyone else in the MLS. And I talked about this. So recently, I actually recorded with the guys from La Cuna Galaxia. Great guys. Go ahead and check it out. So we were covering the Dynamo versus LA Galaxy. I don't really want to relive that game, but that happened. But we talked about this Inter Miami. We'll get to what we talked about Inter Miami, but it is starting to become people just not liking Inter Miami. And I think Inter Miami, unfortunately, is kind of becoming annoying. And I think it's because MLS is clearly pushing Miami. It's a clear narrative, and the reason why I say that is in the Leagues Cup, because people give a shit about that stupid tournament. Sorry for cussing Kelcey. Inter Miami beats Orlando in the Leagues Cup semifinal, which obviously it was significant because Inter Miami has really struggled against Orlando, even with Messi. Hasn't had, at least in recent runs, were struggling against Orlando. And the game was very questionable. But I digress on that part. And sorry for yawning. And so there were some questionable calls in that game, and Inter Miami wins, and they're going to the final. And all over MLS social media was just them getting excited for Inter Miami as if this was like the Triple C or some shit. Sorry for cussing Kelcey. It was just poor. It was just poor because it's like, hey, they're playing against another MLS team. Like, I'm all for like going play by play on the game itself. Like, I understand that part, but like that MLS account was very much in Miami fan account. That is exactly how I viewed it. Which, because he's like, where was that same energy for the Seattle Sounders LA Galaxy semifinal? Where was that energy when, anyone was playing against anybody? It really isn't. It's only when Inter Miami. It's like that clip from the movie Ted, right? Where it's like, look what Jesus did, right? When they're referring to Ted. Like, that's literally what it is. It's like, look what Messi did. It's it's getting annoying. It's getting old. And you would have to think, if you're an MLS fan, like, it's not really elevating the league. This hasn't improved the league. Like, maybe viewership of Miami games, it helps Miami. People are going and flocking to go watch Miami. People are buying Miami kits because of Messi. Like, even here in Houston, I've seen so many Miami kids here. And I know for a fact that they don't give a shit about the MLS. I know. I'm not shocked. When I went to go see Tigres versus Inter Miami for last year's Leagues Cup, a lot of Miami kids. As a matter of fact, when it was clear that Messi wasn't going to play, that stadium was very much not packed. As a matter of fact, you could honestly have said move the game to Shell Energy so it looks fuller, because of how many people just decided not to go because Messi wasn't there. So, as far as helping elevate the league and improve the league, it hasn't done anything. Especially when you have this Messi and friends narrative, where Messi gets Sergio Busquets on the team, gets Jordi Alba on Miami, go gets Luis Suarez on the team. How are they not violating any of the MLS salary rules is beyond me. And on top of that, you just got Rodrigo De Paul, a guy that should probably be still in Europe. If you ask me, he should be still being a dog for Diego Simeone and Atletico Madrid. He's still a very good midfielder. And it leaves a lot of question marks, right? The reason why I say that is because people don't care to see Miami People care to see Messi. That's all they care about. See, they don't like if you find out Messi's not going to be on the at the game, people won't go. I mean, you had the Houston Dynamo when they were supposed to play Inter Miami. Messi didn't come. Messi did not go. Messi did not go to the game. He didn't even fly to Houston, and people were furious because they didn't want to see Houston Dynamo versus Inter Miami. They wanted to see Messi, and people were furious. People were complaining about a guy deciding not to go to Houston. Messi has absolutely look, the decision that came to, I really don't care. But once again, with that showing, it tells me once again that people just don't care about MLS. They don't. I do think I do think the U.S. does have a distinct fandom for the sport, but not for the home league. It's not for MLS. It's for the leagues in Europe. It's people that like, the Big Six in Europe, the Big Six in the English Premier League, the Big Three in La Liga, the big clubs in Serie A, Bayern Munich or Borussia Dortmund. Maybe it's the Leverkusen kids just because of what happened with them. PSG. That's all they care about. They don't care about MLS, and I get it. I'm not blind, people. I'm not saying that MLS is a better league than the Premier League. This I have never once stated that. I still support the MLS. I still watch MLS. I still go watch the Houston Dynamo, as depressing as it is watching them. But people just frankly don't care about MLS, and I get it. I don't take that away from anybody. But the concern that I have, and it's obvious, is that this clearly shows you that once Messi leaves MLS, it's going to hurt the league. It's going to hurt the league. The league is not going to the league's not going to keep many fans. Yeah, cool, the viewership is up. Yeah, cool, people are buying tickets to go see Inter Miami. Yeah, cool, jersey sales are at an all-time high because of Messi. And it's cool that Heung-min Son's kit was very much bought after he signed with LAFC. But that just shows how supportive the fans of South Korea are. And obviously there's a lot of people that love Heung-min Son. But I think once Messi leaves, the league's going to go down. Because it's not showing. It's not showing to me. And it's, once again, it's perfectly fine if you don't like MLS. I'm not here trying to sell you on MLS. Because at the end of the day, I can tell you how I find the games to be enjoyable. I can sit and watch an MLS game and be perfectly content. But at the same time, the thing is, it's just people just don't give it the light of day. They're just oh no, the league sucks. It's inferior league. Have you watched the game? No, I just know it sucks. I'm okay, it's like the person that just only likes indie music, right? That doesn't like any of the big name teams and the big name bands, right? They oh no, that band sucks, man. They're sellouts, right? That's basically what it is when it comes to MLS, even though they're not really good. But they just they view MLS as just an inferior product. Let's just say, for instance, someone just doesn't like Avenged Sevenfold, right? They're oh no, they're just mainstream. They suck, man. They're garbage. I like my indie band. I don't know any indie bands right now. But I like that indie band. That's real. That's raw, which is perfectly fine. Love the music that you love, but you can't sit here and tell me that Avenged Sevenfold doesn't have hits. They're a reason why they sell out stadiums. But I digress. But it is very it's very set in stone that MLS is I don't know how bad it's gonna harm MLS, but I know it's not gonna be great when Messi leaves because all the Messi fans that you were hoping would stay put, they're not. They're not. They're just not. Is that fine? Not really. I would wish someone would just take the time. Just watch it. Like it's not bad. So, and I think what's hurting even more is the frustration of people trying to say that Messi is the best player in the world, which I'm not disagreeing. Obviously, he's getting older, but he's still having his moments. He's still playing like as magical as Messi is. But I mean, the only thing he's got is the Leagues Cup. Didn't win when he the first when they were at the U.S. Open Cup final. Messi couldn't play, but that doesn't take the fact that they lost to the Houston Dynamo. Just want to point that out. They did win Leagues Cup, right? But they didn't win it after. They didn't win the MLS Cup. They got eliminated in the first round to Atlanta United, which obviously then stirred a lot of people complaining about the playoff format, right? I think that there's going to be some good things that come from the whole Messi thing. Obviously, changing the season schedule to a fall spring season is clearly the right move. And there's going to be changes to the playoff format, which I'm definitely perfectly fine with. But I just don't think that it's once Messi. The whole part of this was hoping to get more MLS fans, and I think Messi leaving is just. People are just going to stop watching MLS because once again, they don't care about the product of MLS. They just care about Messi. So, but all right, Leagues Cup. So obviously I mentioned that they won the semifinal against Orlando. So that meant they were going into the final and they were taking on the Seattle Sounders, which Seattle won handedly 3-0. And which also makes Seattle Sounders the only team in MLS to have won and every possible trophy that an MLS team can win. They won the U.S. Open Cup. They've won the MLS Cup. They've won Triple C or CONCACAF Champions League, whatever they called it at the time. And now they've won the Leagues Cup. So any potential trophy, they've won it. I mean, obviously they didn't win the FIFA Club World Cup, but so I guess they haven't really won every potential trophy they can win. But as far as an MLS team's perspective, they did have won most of the possible trophies that a team can win. And it was good. It was a great performance from Seattle. A well-played game by Seattle. Everything was clicking right. They looked very much the better team. I don't know what the hell was going on with Miami. They didn't look great. And Seattle Sounders played a strong game. And unfortunately, that's not what's being talked about. What's being talked about is what happened after the game, which was just I don't know what to call it. I mean, it was just it just led to nonsense. Heated scuffles between players. Suarez charging at a Sounders player. Busquets even throwing a little bit of slaps here and there. I believe Jordi Alba also got involved as well. A lot of players got involved. And then on top of that, Luis Suarez spitting at an assistant coach, which is kind of funny because around the same time we have also in the NFL a player from the Philadelphia Eagles spitting on the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. That's just a bizarre coincidence. But yeah, this week just seems to be the theme for people to spit on each other. Hawk Tua might be coming back. So, but yeah, and on top of that, there was also footage of like fans Inter Miami fans fighting Seattle Sounders fans, and people are just like, this is not U.S. football, U.S. soccer culture, or whatever the hell they want to call it. This isn't me condoning it, but I would say a good part of the game is hooliganism. Not a good part. A small percentage of the game does have hooliganism. I don't condone it. I think it's stupid. But you're gonna have those kind of fans, fans that maybe most people would probably question their passion, because why is that what you're going for? Why do you feel the need to fight the opposing fan base? But it's there. But yeah, you had Inter Miami fans, which once again, it's a lot of Inter Miami has a lot of like Latin influence, and if you're not familiar with Latin influence in football, it can be crazy. I mean, if you guys are not fully aware, I mean, Querétaro and Atlas is a very dark stain, in my opinion, of that kind of hostility. I mean, be that person that's brave enough to wear a River Plate shirt amongst Boca fans. Be that person that's willing to walk around in a Chivas jersey in a clearly Club America area. It's almost gang affiliate if you really think about it. I mean, Colombia, it kind of was, especially during the times of the cartels, right, in Colombia. So it's always been, there's some, I don't know, once again, I don't condone this. But even then, like, you not just in Latin America, but if you look overseas, right, hooliganism is still very much a part of Europe. Be careful if you're wearing a Rangers kit in a Celtic area, vice versa. Welcome to Wrexham did an episode completely on the whole thing of hooliganism. The same thing can be said in many parts of the world. I think that hooliganism is unfortunately a part of the game. Now, am I condoning it? Once again, I'm not. I'm not condoning it. I don't want to condone it. I never will condone it. But you're gonna when you have fans that are in the heat of the moment just as much as the players are. Alcohol is usually a big factor, and I mean, if teams weren't happy with the result of the performance, last thing they want to do is see a Seattle Sounders fan, and also banter's always going to be a thing. Like, just banter's going to happen, and I never understood why people get so. Look, I know there's times I've said it's more than just a game. Sometimes I say, it's bigger than it's more than just a game. Like it's more than that. But in reality, it is just a game. And I think sometimes we put ourselves way too invested into the game. You got to find a good balance. Like I always say, if the game pisses you off so much that you want to punch somebody, you probably need to reevaluate your life, your priorities in life, and maybe you need to find a new hobby. I have been mad before, but I've never taken it out on anybody. I've watched my team lose in terrible fashion. I've seen my team win in great fashion. I've seen them win barely win it. I've seen them, lose in an unfortunate manner. But and this is point proven. My best friend is a Barcelona fan, and obviously I'm a Madrista. If you guys didn't know, I am a Madrista. I am officially a Madrista. I even have the little card that says Madrista. I have, and Edward can vouch this, never laid my hands on Edward after a Barca game. Does he talk trash? Not really. Not really to begin with. But I also have a lot of friends that are Barca fans as well, and they talk trash. And I've never hit them. I've never felt the need to hit them, nor would I ever want to hit them. Unless I felt my life was in danger, or I felt like someone close, that I'm close with is in danger. But aside from that, why? I'm not a player. I wasn't out there playing. Why would I let that bother me?
Righteous Felon Craft Jerky is the official jerky of BellyUpSports. For over a decade, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky has led the American meat snack revolution by concocting delicious, adventurous, U.S.-sourced jerky recipes for uncompromising carnivores across the country. With 15 different flavors to choose from, Righteous Felon has all jerky lovers covered, and by using promo code BELLYUP, you will get 15% off your purchase at RighteousFelon.com. Do your taste buds a favor today and rip into a bag of Righteous Felon jerky.
You know, point proven. The Houston Texans played a shitty game today, and not gonna go punch a LA Rams fan. You know, the Houston Nationals lost to the Texas Rangers. I'm not gonna go see my friend Jeremy and punch him in the face because of that. I'm not. At the end of the day, I got other shit to do. You know, so while I am in the moments of the game and I'm all about the excitement, okay, another point. My family's from El Salvador. That El Salvador Honduras or El Salvador Guatemala games, those games get pretty heated and very intense. You don't see me punching my brother-in-law who's Guatemalan. Because it's really, and I hate using this phrase because it's a phrase a lot of the young people say, but it's really not that deep. It's really not. You know, at the end of the day, it is a game. You win some, you lose some. But the part is that you should be able to live another day. So that's my whole thoughts on hooliganism, and I just wanted to point that out. But obviously, a lot of conduct that was not good. We had apologies issued, but apologies, honestly, after this point, is just not enough. Inter Miami performed very immaturely, very, very unprofessional, which is, you know, a club that has guys that have played in some of the highest levels can't say. I mean, look, Luis Suarez is going to do Luis Suarez things. So I'm not surprised by him, but like Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba, like this is crap that that Pep Guardiola would not stand for, and so like this is just right. Like where does that come from? That is just pure nonsense. I think you just acted immature. You had a lapse in judgment. I get that, but at the end of the day, grow the fuck up. And I will say props to Lionel Messi because he stayed and watched the award ceremony. He stayed. Everybody else went to the locker room because they were being a bunch of sore losers. But Messi stayed put. Maybe there was other players, and I'll applaud them as well. But I know Messi was the one that was very much pointed out. But yeah, obviously with all this dumb stuff, there had to have been suspensions, right? And there was. So Luis Suarez received a 6-game suspension. Sergio Busquets received 2-game suspension. Aviles received a 3-game suspension. And Sounders assistant coach Steven Lennart received a 5-game suspension. But those suspensions only apply to Leagues Cup. So they're not going to have to deal with this till Leagues Cup, which that's something they don't have to worry about till like the summertime. So like July, they don't have to play a game in July, which I'm sure they're not going to be completely against. You essentially gave Luis Suarez like a summer vacation. With those 6 games, you just gave him a summer. Steven Lennart, he got also a month vacation. Now MLS. This comes from Tom Bogart, could hand out suspensions. And they should hand out suspensions because this is even though Leagues Cup is a competition between MLS and Liga MX sides, Inter Miami was a reflection on MLS. And so if I'm MLS, I'm handing some suspensions as well. And the only reason why I don't think it's going to happen, or if they do, they're going to do it for the start of the next season, because Inter Miami is trying. Look. The reason why I'm going to say that MLS tries their best to get Inter Miami to go as far as they can is because of the fact that in that Orlando game, there was a lot of questionable calls from the referees. Am I saying MLS is paying refs? No. But I can imagine them telling them it would be behoove of them. If you guys don't know what behoove means, if you hear someone say, it's a military term normally used, but if someone says it would be behoove of you, it usually means like it would be in your best interest if you. So like maybe like, hey, it would be behoove of you if you made some favorable calls for Inter Miami. Not saying that you should do it, but it would be behoove of you. Now, MLS, I don't think they're going to give him suspensions. At least not for right now. For this season. All right, guys. There is an update to the suspensions. MLS has, in fact, stepped in and dished out some suspensions for the entire fiasco that happened in the Leagues Cup. Luis Suarez is going to be suspended for 3 MLS games. So not only is he going to be suspended for the games that he already will be for Leagues Cup, but he will be suspended for 3 games in the MLS. And assistant coach Steven Lenhart, who already was dealt a suspension for Leagues Cup, he also is going to have his MLS credential revoked for the remainder of the season. And that's it. Sergio Busquets does not receive any additional punishment. Jordi Alba will not be receiving any additional punishment. It is just going to be Luis Suarez and coach Steven Lenhart. Yes, I do believe it is a total amount of bullshit. Sorry for cussing Kelcey. Yes, yeah, fuck you, MLS. That's all I gotta say. All right, proceed. Sorry for cussing Kelcey. We're going into the home stretch of the MLS season. Playoffs is going to be next month, and Inter Miami. Well, like I said, there's a lot of pressure for Inter Miami that they need to start winning something. I don't count. Leagues Cup was cool because of the fact that like Messi was making his debut. You know, we saw him score a winning free kick against Cruz Azul, all that stuff, and obviously lifting the first trophy in Miami's history. But like now, more and more people just don't care about Leagues Cup. They don't. It's not something as enticing as people care about. I frankly don't like it because Liga MX teams have to play in the U.S. They can't play in Mexico, which I think is stupid. Like, give them a home field advantage as well. Like, these MLS teams need to start getting used to playing in Mexico. Like, if you want them to go far in Triple C, you need to start letting them play in that atmosphere. Because there's no atmosphere compared here in the U.S. to the atmosphere in Liga MX. I'm just going to be honest with you. But they need to start getting used to playing in those atmospheres. There is actually a home field advantage in Liga MX. That's all I'm going to say. But, yes, MLS, I will be impressed if MLS actually hands out suspensions on Luis Suarez, Sergio Busquets, and Aviles, and even Steven Lenhart. Like, I'll be surprised if they hand out suspensions. But if they do hand out suspensions, I guarantee you that I hit my face on that. I guarantee you it will be applied to next year. I'm just saying. But that's just my thoughts. But no, to wrap this up, I do believe Inter Miami. Okay, so I'll say what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to explain it in a non-soccer way. Inter Miami is starting to make me not want to watch the MLS, which is pretty hard because the Houston Dynamo does a really good job of making me not want to watch them. But I still go and support them as someone that's in a terrible, terrible relationship. But Inter Miami just makes this league hard to take seriously. And I get why a lot of people that don't like MLS can't take MLS seriously, because they're doing stuff like this that it doesn't help to take the league seriously. And I talked about this with La Cuna Galaxia. Inter Miami makes this league a little bit unwatchable to me. It's kind of similar to LeBron James with the LA Lakers. Now, am I a LeBron guy? I acknowledge his game, and I think he is going to go down as one of the best. I don't want to say the best because obviously everyone has their own opinions over LeBron James and Michael Jordan. And if you were to ask me who is the GOAT, I would say Kobe Bryant because Kobe was my guy that I grew up with. I didn't grow up with Michael Jordan. I didn't watch Michael Jordan play. I mean, I was literally a baby when Michael Jordan was, winning his titles. But I watched Kobe. So Kobe was who I viewed. And at one point, it was Kobe and MJ. And they actually played the same position. Obviously, LeBron James happened, and then that kind of just overshadowed it. But, so if you ask me, the GOAT's Kobe Bryant. But I think when LeBron, because obviously LeBron James did what he did, won with Miami Heat, won with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and when it was time for him to take his talents elsewhere, he goes to the LA Lakers. Why would he want to go to the LA Lakers? Well, the LA Lakers at that time just couldn't really get things going like they used to. It was no more the days of just signing star players and hoping and not hoping but expecting championships. The league was starting to be a little bit different, especially when you have teams like Golden State Warriors kind of just being a dominant force in the league at the time. And they knew LeBron is very familiar with the Golden State Warriors, so they were like, hey, let's bring LeBron here to LA. And, and obviously this was like a way for LeBron to even solidify his career more than I brought the Heat a championship. I brought a championship to Cleveland. How about me resurrecting the Los Angeles Lakers? I'm a Kobe fan. I just want to point that out. My connection to the Lakers is more so because of Kobe. I do, if I were to watch a basketball team, I would watch the Lakers. But I'm just not really a basketball fan. But just so you guys have a reference, understand this. Now I just kind of watch basketball for what it is. I can give a rat's ass what happens with the Lakers, but the whole LeBron thing made me understand what my connection was to the Lakers, and it was strictly just Kobe Bryant. Now there's guys on the Lakers that I like. I mean, I was a huge Alex Caruso fan when he was here. I still love Alex Caruso. I'll go. I'm actually contemplating on getting Alex Caruso jerseys. Luka Doncic is kind of interesting. But even that's kind of making me not want to watch the Lakers. I don't know. I think it's because him and LeBron. I think, obviously, I like Luka Doncic. I think he's a great basketball player. But him and LeBron, it just the thing is, LeBron fans are annoying. And, to mix that in with Lakers, and I know there's a lot of annoying Lakers fans, trust me. But it just makes me not want to watch the Lakers. So that's when I realized I'm not a Lakers fan at all. I was just a fan of Kobe Bryant. I was a fan of Shaquille O'Neal, Derek Fisher, Big Shot Rob. Still am a huge fan of Big Shot Rob. I mean, the dude's won a lot of championships with some really good teams. But anyways, that's not my whole point. But the reason why I was saying Inter Miami makes MLS unwatchable because it's mostly people that just care about Messi. And I think that's kind of what it is with the Lakers right now. It's just a lot of people that really love LeBron James. I think there's a lot of Lakers fans that are getting kind of tired of the whole LeBron thing. And they just want the team to win championships. They just want the Lakers to win championships. I think that's really what it is. And I don't think that they see it with LeBron. And I kind of agree. I kind of do. But yeah. I have my concerns about Inter Miami, and it's not going to change anytime soon. I do think they're hurting the MLS more than they are helping. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there, man. All right. The last headline, Liga MX. So, Liga MX has officially announced, well, they've been announced it, that promotion relegation is going to return to Liga MX. But what I am going to talk about is that it is going to be the 2026-27 season. So after the World Cup, the season after the World Cup, will be when promotion relegation returns to Liga MX. Now, the El Expansión, the second division, was looking to make an appeal to have it happen sooner. So basically, this season to have it happen, but it was rejected. One, because now that the season's going, you can't really do that. Now, if you guys are wondering with the whole promotion relegation, Liga MX removed promotion relegation from their league back in 2020 because of the pandemic, the economic impact that COVID-19 that applied with it. So they just kept the teams, whatever teams were in that Liga MX that year. Those were the teams that were going to be put for quite some time. So the question was never if it's going to come back. The question was when. But also take it with a grain of salt with promotion relegation in Liga MX because, so if you guys aren't really familiar, if you watch Club de Cuervos, they actually do a really good explanation of what some of these Liga MX teams do, which is if their team's going to get relegated, especially when we're talking about like the big teams, so like the Club Américas, the Chivas de Guadalajaras, like when they're about to get relegated, they just buy the team that's in the second division that's getting promoted. They just buy them and then say, "Oh, we're back in the first division." I hope that there's going to be some rules implementing that. I mean, especially now. One, I hope that there's going to be a rule implemented that you can't have multi-ownership of clubs. I think that's a massive problem. Obviously, it impacted Club León from competing in the Club World Cup because of it. So I think that there's a lot of things that need to be taken care of, and bringing back promotion relegation is going to be really great, especially for people that want to see, eventually the rebranded Monarcas come back. Would love to see, Veracruz. Would love to see Dorados. Any of the clubs that were FC Cancun that's owned by Jeff Lunau. Like, see those teams get a chance to showcase what they can do in Liga MX in the top flight. It's one of those things that I always remember. Just there were certain teams that I was very oh, I've never seen this team before. Atalante, Chiapas. Teams that I was familiar with because just watching Liga MX for so many years, and not to see them there But I think also it adds that element now where consequences once again. I think this is stuff that a lot of guys in Liga MX have been wanting to see again. You heard Mohamed from Toluca talk about how if we don't change, we're not going to be any different than the league above us, right? Which is not above us in a hierarchy sense, but above us up north, which was MLS, because MLS doesn't have promotion relegation. And I think this is good for the league. It just adds consequences to being terrible. It really does. I mean, at the end, look, I am a promotion relegation guy. I would like to see MLS have promotion relegation. It just right now the logistics makes absolutely no sense into it. And I am pulling for USL. I am 100% pulling for USL. I want them to show that the theory that the fans wouldn't stand for promotion relegation is a crock of shit. I want them to show that, hey, we need to have a reason to get these owners to give a crap. And promotion relegation is a good way to tell them if they give a crap or not. That honestly, that's just how I feel about it. But I'm happy that Liga MX is bringing this back. It should be coming back. I would love to see different faces in Liga MX. It probably pushed me more to want to cover this league because unfortunately, we take breaks when Liga MX starts, and it's not really their fault. I think it's just because of the way Leagues Cup is done, and they want to play some games before Leagues Cup to get, especially because they kind of go into a disadvantage for Leagues Cup. Because I would like to talk a little bit more about Liga MX from time to time, especially because once again I've stated I've grown up watching Liga MX when Liga MX was very much easy. It was very easy to watch Liga MX games because it was in Univision and Telemundo. Azteca. What was it? I think it was TV Azteca. I think that was, I forgot what the channel was, but that's how I watched Liga MX games. It was more attainable. It was in the time zone that that it worked for me. So I was able to watch some really good teams. Got to watch Club America, got to watch Atlas when they had Andres Guardado and a young Andres Guardado. Watching Chiapas, watching Dorados, watching Veracruz, watching all these teams. Toluca, the golden years of Toluca, which looks like it's coming back. But the golden years of Toluca with Hernan Cristante, Paulo da Silva, Zinha, Vicente Sanchez, Jose Cardozo, like all that, man, like it was awesome. So as someone that has a lot of appreciation for Liga MX, yeah, I want to see this league be competitive and be entertaining. The league is entertaining. People, it is an entertaining league. It gives you way too much stoppage time, but still a very entertaining league. So it is a big part of my upbringing when it comes to football, because Liga MX at one point was really all I had to watch, because like I didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch Premier League, I couldn't watch La Liga, I couldn't watch any of the other leagues because I just didn't have access to it unless I had a friend that had cable, or not only had cable but had that channel. So yeah, Liga MX was a big part of my life, and that's why I have such a appreciation for the league. I don't have a team per se, but I appreciate the league for what it is. It's fun, it's entertainment, and it's at the end of the day, it really is pure entertainment. So, and adding promotion relegation is just going to add more entertainment value because of the drama of getting relegated to avoid relegation. That's going to add more to this league, and I think it's going to light a fire for a lot of these teams. So, but obviously we need some rules on the multi ownership. I think that's going to be a big thing that needs to be addressed at some point during the seasons. At some point, hopefully it gets implemented as well in the 2026-27 season. So we'll see how that all goes, and I can't wait to hear more news for Liga MX. I want to see this league get its shine, definitely. So, yeah, I don't care. I love Liga MX. I really do. But all right, we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we'll go right into games to watch.
I love soccer, Peggy.
All right, guys. So because it is international break, we will not have players of the week. So no players of the week this week, but we do have some games to watch this weekend. So like I said, international break is over, so we're back in full action. Across the leagues in the world, we got Charlotte FC versus Inter Miami in MLS. We'll see how Inter Miami responds to continuing on this season, as they try to pursue playoff hopes. And Charlotte FC, a team that, well, we need to start seeing some spark. We got the Vancouver Whitecaps taking on the Philadelphia Union. An interesting matchup, could potentially have maybe a preview of the MLS Cup final. We don't know. We'll see. Pachuca versus Cruz Azul, two really good teams right now in Liga MX, taking each other on. We also have in Liga MX, Club America versus Chivas de Guadalajara, El Super Clásico. Chivas is definitely not in good form, but we'll see if they can do something in a really big rivalry in Liga MX now. Take it with a grain of salt. Not necessarily sure where it is now, especially with the way Chivas is playing over the years. But it's still a matchup that I do tend to still very much enjoy and watch, because once again, it's a big rivalry. It's a classic, and a super clásico, the super classic. So make sure you guys, if you guys aren't into Liga MX, maybe go ahead and check that game out and see for yourself. And in Turkey, or Turkey apparently, it's Fenerbahce versus Trabzonspor. So two really big fan bases. We'll see how they respond. Both of them starting fairly well. Also one without a manager. Well, probably have a manager pretty soon, but we'll see how that all transpires over there in Turkey. In Ligue 1, we got PSG versus RC Lens and Stade Rennes versus Lyon. Lyon, really good start to the season. Can they continue on and maybe compete for a Ligue 1 title amongst PSG? We'll see what happens, man. In the Bundesliga, we got Bayer Leverkusen versus Eintracht Frankfurt. We'll see how the post-Erik ten Hag era is going to look like for Bayer Leverkusen. And Borussia Mönchengladbach taking on Werder Bremen, mainly because of Gio Reyna. We'll see how he responds to this international break. In the Serie A, we got Juventus versus Inter Milan, AC Milan versus Bologna. I believe this is a rematch of the Coppa Italia. So we'll see what AC Milan learned any of their lessons from that time. In La Liga, we got Real Sociedad versus Real Madrid, and Barcelona taking on Valencia, who not looking pretty good right now, early on in the season. In the Premier League, we got Crystal Palace versus Sunderland, and the Manchester Derby, Manchester City versus Manchester United, and it is the first of not the first, it's the second matchup for the jersey bet. It'll be Edward taking on Spencer. So we'll see what color Manchester will be. Will it be red or will it be blue? I really wish it wasn't colors involved with certain gangs. But here we are. Especially when you're trying to say a town is a specific color. But well, I digress on that one part. But yes, it is not all the games that are being played this weekend. But if you guys are looking for a good beginner's guide, I think I'll give you guys some good matches to look forward to. But we'll go ahead and take a break, and then you'll hear Kelcey and myself do a 3-up, 3-down, the Premier League kids.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at BellyUpSports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
What's up? It's Kelcey from the High Low Sports Podcast. Hector asked me to come back yet again for another 3-up, 3-down. This time we're talking English Premier League. That's right. 3-up, 3-down with English Premier League kits. Absolutely fantastic. Some of these this year. But let's start with my 3 downs. Let's get these out of the way because, well, there's some, I don't think anybody's surprised to hear this, some rough ones. Look, there's some winners, there's some losers. A lot of times, some of these newer clubs, they just kind of stick with what they got. The manufacturers aren't sure if they're going to stick around, so they're just going to stick with the traditional. Sometimes those are good. Sometimes they're not so good. So we'll rip the Band-Aid off, start with the bad, and then we'll work our way up. So 3 down for me. We're going to start with Brentford, and we're going to go with their away kit. Now, Brentford, they've been in the EPL a few times. They've put out a couple cool jerseys. I've talked about them before in the 3-ups. This time, they're in the 3 down. Brown and gold. I don't get what you're doing with the away kit here. This one is pretty rough. I don't enjoy this whatsoever. I'm not a big fan of browns. It has to be done really right, like a cream and brown or something. But brown and gold is not a great look. Joma kind of missed the mark on this one, in my opinion. Although I get it. Maybe it works for Brentford fans. Not for me. Sorry. Don't love this one. That's my first on the 3 downs. Next up, I'm going to a big club. That's right. They got a bunch of money. But this kit continues to be rough. It's their 3rd kit, and it's Man City, and it's another Puma kit. That's right, this Puma logo in the middle, along with the badge. Now they're technicolored, green to blue to green fade. Stop. If it was just the gray and green, I was fine with this. The moment you put that fade in there, it screams training kit. And I don't think training kits belong on the pitch. Now, I've seen some really fantastic training kits, but this one, not even of those. This one is like the penny they give you and you're forced to wear as a kid. And you're like, man, I don't really want to do this. So yeah, City, number 2 here with the 3rd kit. Don't love that one at all. And last up on my 3 downs, we're going to London and we're going with Tottenham. Tottenham's away kit, or 3rd kit, sorry. Not their away kit. Their away kit's actually pretty nice. But their 3rd kit, it screams to me Sweden mid-2000s. This is the kit I remember seeing really any player, but really Zlatan be the guy that was wearing this kit. Also the Ukraine back in those days with some of their players. This is just not a great look for Tottenham, who in my recent memory and all the way even back into the early 2000s, I don't remember a lot of yellow kits in their days. There's some yellow accents on kits, but never a fully yellow kit since at least 2010 that I can remember. I've never been a big fan of bright yellow kits unless they have the perfect accents. And this one has the old T90 shape to it. And I hated that pinstripe that just wraps around the chest and around the belt line. It just doesn't seem right. It looks like it squares off the kit and you forget the rest of it exists. Don't love this. I never really liked a lot of these Nike templates from the 2005 to 2009 range. And you're seeing a lot of them. And I don't love it, especially don't love this Tottenham one with this third kit with the yellow. So just recapping my 3 down, Brentford's away, City's third, and Tottenham's third kit as well. Now let's go to the positives here. We're going to go with my number 1 being Burnley. That's right. Burnley's third kit. I absolutely love this. I love the black, the white, the gold with the cool kind of technical 3D colors. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like a honeybee hive or network connections or DNA or kind of like chemical symbols or chemical design structures. I like it. Whatever it is, it looks great as a sublimation to the rest of the kit. The black front with the gold and white numbers on the logo, on the sponsor logo. I think that's fantastic. Having the black and gold logo with the gold manufacturer logo as well with the gold neckline. I love black and gold and when it's done right. And I've talked about that before. There's been some really good ones that we've seen. And this one might be up there with some of the better ones. I think pairing these with some white shorts with some black and gold accents to it would be great. Or just going gold shorts with black and white accents. Either one works, but I think Burnley really knocked it out with this third kit, and I love it. Now, second on my list, I mentioned City. We're going back to Manchester, but we're going to the other side of Manchester. We're going with Man United's away kit. I've always loved the devil patch they have when they use that as their logo for a kit. I love it. I also love jerseys when they color match, and this kit matches that. It is a white kit with you have blue background, navy blue, and then you have the sponsor logo, the manufacturer logo, and the badge all matching that same color. I love that idea. Obviously, their third kit also should have got a nominee here, but I'm not giving them 2 kits. I can't give Man United that many positives in 1 year. They just have to win games first. But I do really like this one, and specifically because of the color matching and the white. Like, I love a clean white jersey. Honestly, if this was on Real Madrid's uniform set, I would have loved it for Real Madrid. Probably more so than I like it for United. But yeah, I like this one as a simple, easy kind of fix for United, who's had some weird kits over the years. This one I really do like. I think this one fits really well with what they did this year. And last but not least, in my 3 up, we're going to go with Sunderland. That's right, Sunderland Till I Die, their third kit with the Prowling Panther. I think that badge is going to look fantastic. The black with the white, silver stylings. And again, this is a color match one. It's a black kit with color matched sponsors, manufacturer, logo, badge, everything color matches. So it's that silver color. It's an absolutely fantastic kit. I'd love to see these at night. That would be so cool. Lit up by that beautiful stadium, all those fans, and it's like a blackout environment. That would be so cool to see. Obviously, you see that in American football, but you don't really see that in European soccer as much, European football as much. So yeah, I would love to see the Sunderland third kit in a nighttime game in Sunderland with all of the fans dressed in black. I think that would be an amazing environment. It's already an amazing environment to play there. But on top of that, you add in these kits. They look like Prowling Panthers, especially if they play well, right? That's the hope. If they play well in these kits, you'll wear them more. That'll make sense for ownership. I love this kit for a lot of opportunities, but also just from the design of it, just looks fantastic. So my 3 ups are Burnley's third kit, United's away kit, and Sunderland and their third kit. Hector, I appreciate it as always for having me on. You guys can check me out over on High Low Sports at high_low_sports on Twitter and High Low Sports everywhere else. We go live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time for all your content on the Belly Up social media accounts. So until next time, guys, I appreciate it, and we will see you soon.
Fight and win!
All right, thank you, Kelcey, for coming on once again. Guys, check out High Low Sports, man. Great stuff over there. Him and DJ covering all the sports, obviously the sports in the U.S., especially if you guys like NFL, NBA, MMA. They talk, baseball. They do cover it over there at High Low Sports, so go ahead and check it out over there. But yeah, so we'll see if me and Kelcey have similar thoughts on these kits. There is some similarities, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But all right, my 3 down for the Premier League. And number 3, we have Brighton's third. I just don't like this kit. I have never liked this kit design that they do. Once again, I've said it plenty of times. It makes me think of referees. So yeah, don't like it. Never liked it. They've come out with similar designs for it of this version, and once again, I just despise it. So I always have to mention it in my 3 downs if they ever come up, whenever they bring up this design. My second kit that I just did not like. And obviously, I am a massive hater of this club, and I'm going to continue to be a massive hater of this club. And I'll bash it any chance I get, and that is, of course, fucking Tottenham. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Go figure. I hate Tottenham. And I don't like this third kit. It is... Look, I get that everyone's coming out with these, like, Nike trying to do this. I'm just not a fan of having the badge in the center, but then have the Nike sponsor also on the other side. Like, if you're gonna do this, either have them both centered or both like be on each different location. But I mean, it's just a yellow kit. Aside from that, it's plain boring. And once again, fuck Tottenham. Sorry for cussing. And my number 1 worst kit, in my fucking opinion, is Manchester City's third. What the fuck is this? Honestly, just what the fuck is this? Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. It is. If you guys run marathons, if you like to run at night, wear this shirt because you're definitely going to get spot. I hope it's reflective because that's what the vibe gives me. That this is just, don't like it, not great. Yeah, disgusting. But we'll go to my 3-ups, So starting off with my 3-ups, I have Everton's away kit. And I mean, I love the cream. I'm just gonna always say it. I'm a sucker for cream kits. I love that they also like have the badge match with the kit color. It's also a collar. So when I envision Jack Grealish, I envision him in this. It looks like a thing of beauty. So solid kit from Everton. Hopefully they can, be better than where they were last year. And then on my second kit, my second favorite kit is Sunderland's third kit. It is just clean. It is, sometimes you can't go wrong with a black kit, and I think they did a great job. I love the just a straight, I'm guessing Cougar, right there. It's a cool badge. I like the badge. I just like the everything about it. Black. I like the silver or gray, whatever that is. But it's a good clean kit. Like, hey, like sometimes simplicity does wonders, and I think especially with Everton and Sunderland, they did a really good job at that. So solid, strong kits. I think. Especially if you're a Sunderland fan, your return to the Premier League, you get to rock that. You're definitely all about it. And my number 1 kit, you can say I'm biased. I don't give a shit. Sorry for cussing, Kelcey. Is Arsenal third kit. Like I said, man, sometimes you don't need to go over the top. You just need to do a nice, clean kit, and it's going to work wonders. I love this kit. I'm definitely going to buy this kit, especially because I do support Arsenal. But the kit is just clean. I love the just having the straight cannon. I love the once again the collar kit. I love collars. I don't shy away from that. It's just a clean white kit. It's a thing of beauty. Bellissima is what Riccardo Calafiore said. So I'm sticking with what my guy said. So yeah, those are my 3 ups and my 3 downs. Once again, guys, check out Kelcey at High Low Sports, man. Love him to death. We'll definitely have him on the podcast to talk some footy whenever we got some things in line. But yeah, man, thank you so much, and we'll go ahead and take. We'll just go segue right into the recap. Right into breaking. Yeah, I can't to end this episode. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end this episode.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to episode 229. 229. It's 229, right? I'm pretty confident it's 229. We're gonna see whether or not it's 229. I don't know why I'm saying all this out loud to you guys. Yeah, it is 229. Episode 229. Thank you so much for listening. This was obviously I'm alive. I survived that 5K. And I hope to do another one at some point. Maybe one that I'll actually run from start to finish. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you guys check out BellyUpSports.com. Lots of great articles are constantly being written on that over there. Check out their YouTube channel at BellyUpSports so you can see all the awesome podcasts that are available at the BellyUpSports Network. Also, check out my Mic Check episode with Vince Stover. So if you guys want to see a little bit behind the scenes of me and how Insert Name FC came to be, well, you can find it over there. X and Instagram, BellyUpSports. Pretty straightforward. That's where you can find it. BellyUpSports, not your average website. Go ahead and check it out. Also, GolzTV, GolzTV. Go to Golz.tv, especially if you're looking for soccer content here made in the USA. There is some international stuff as well, but go ahead and check it out, especially if you're trying to see what exactly is the American's perspective, the real American football fans, not American football, the real football fans here in the United States. Like, if you guys are trying to not find the typical dumb American, besides me, you'll see some stuff over there. But check them out on X at Golz_TV. Once again, at X at Golz_TV, GOLZ_TV. Jesus Christ. And on Instagram, Golz.tv, GOLZ.TV. That's where you can find them. You can see all the content they're posting. You'll find me from time to time on their YouTube channel, and which you can also find on Golz.tv. You can find me sometimes on Wake Up MLS, talking some stuff. I'm currently in a Premier League fantasy league with them, which don't think I'm doing great. I think I got my first win last week or the week before. And yeah, I've not done a really good job of tracking that team. But if you guys want to see the banter between those guys, we'll have Jose from time to time on this podcast. So if you guys really love Jose, that's another place where you can find him. But yeah, GolzTV, man, check them out, man. Love the stuff that they're doing. I love them. I love them to death. I'm happy to be providing content for them, and the favor is always returned. But thank you so much for listening for episode 229. Catch us next week. Everyone will be back. We'll have some more conversations about something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week. Take care, guys. Oh, shoot, man, my bad. Shout out to Roosevelt Spencer. If you guys hear the intros and outros, you're hearing something a little different now. Yeah, it's made by him. So we love Spencer to death. So much that he is a namesake of our Player of the Year award, the Roosevelt Spencer Player of the Year. So if you guys, please check him out at That Guy Dope. Once again, at That Guy Dope. If you guys need some beat work done, whether you're trying to get some beats for your podcast, whether you're trying to get, maybe you're a musician yourself, at the end of the day, especially if you're podcasting or doing YouTube, that copyright is kind of a bitch. So sorry for Cousin Kelcey. So make sure you guys check him out at That Guy Dope. Once again, at That Guy Dope. Now, with all that being said, thank you so much for listening. Catch us next week for episode 230. Take care, guys.